So let's continue down the matrix, and let's understand that we have our roles to play and different character positions to play out. So what happens to the innocent child that is murdered for doing absolutely nothing on Earth except for stepping in the way of a child murderer? What is the actual meaning of this act? Well, there is no meaning. In fact, it was solely a test of the murderer in order to overcome his desires to kill or to take something innocent that he lacked. Now he has failed that test. So what happens? Well, either he is discovered in this world and in this life and goes through the judicial system of putting him away, and he loses out on his chance to experience this life. So he stays in prison and has to think about these moments in time where he made those bad choices that now has locked him behind the bars, and he cannot step outside into the sunlight and cannot enjoy actually living his life except through the walls of the prison. But what happens when that murderer goes untouched by the law? And if they are able to keep themselves hidden away and keep on murdering until the body counts start to pile up, what happens to that particular soul? Well, that soul, when it dies eventually, will be able to go back to the information center, that is God, the Creator, Allah, and will be reflecting on all of its choices that it has made. There it will be decided, Allah will decide and judge righteously that this soul has not learned certain lessons that it needs to acquire in order to move up and into bliss and into final rest. Therefore, it comes back down to the lower dimensions of the physical reality in order to learn. But this time, when it comes down, it will not be such an easy path, for it will be harder for this soul in order to force it upon its knees in order to look for the light within and the light outside of itself. It won't be able to make those selfish choices as easily, because its life will be far more harder, and it will be all about trying to survive, and will probably be also a victim of another soul that is torturing it or creating a hellish realm for it. But in doing so, this soul will start to learn and will start to understand that it needs to reach for something inside of itself and something outside of itself as well. And it will overcome some of the desires to do evil. And if it learns to bypass the evil desires that it has, then eventually it will be able to come back to Allah and will be able to be admitted into the states of higher consciousness and bliss. But this may take many lifetimes for a soul to learn. Some souls it does not take so long, and that is because of the will choice and the strength and the spirit and the courage that this particular spirit has. This is simply a matter of free will from that soul. That soul sometimes just wants to go back a little bit faster to the source and does not want to experience and extend its expansion outward into the physical world, but actually wants to come back to the source faster in order for it to be in non-material, spiritual form, and be able to choose how it comes back as a bodhisattva, as an angel, as a guide, as a messenger, as a light, something that can help the other younger souls learn. That is the path of a soul and its journey. So what happens to that innocent young child that was murdered? Well, in the Quran, at the end times, all of the things buried and concealed will be brought to surface. All the truth will be known. So the child that was buried will be asked, according to the Quran verses. What crimes have you committed in order to be killed? And of course that child will show that it has no crimes against it, and it is completely innocent. Therefore that soul will be taken in by the arms of love within the universe, and will be brought into the next stages of its consciousness to experience a more blissful state that it deserves, because it passed this test of this world, and it became a victim of another, not because it chose to, but because it had no choice. Therefore, the most loving and merciful creator of the entire universe will bring that soul into a new experience. And that is what it means when the verses say that even though we may perceive people being dead here on earth, they are very much alive and they are very much living. And the way that they live really determines on the way that they have lived here on earth, and how they have exited and left their states of consciousness from this earth. So an innocent child will be brought into the heavenly states of bliss, or will be able to experience a new type of life and reality that makes it a little bit easier for it to learn. But because that other soul that was removed from its reality is now in the lower states of dimensions and is learning its lesson, well, then there is really nothing that is going to take that innocent soul's life. Its reality has now changed. So it gets to experience a different type of reality that is more optimal for its growth and learning. Therefore, this soul will live out a new existence and a new experience, more blissful, more happier than you can ever even imagine on earth. And this is what happens to all the innocent souls that are killed in the cause of Allah. In the cause of God, when someone dies, it is because they are standing up, or they are living their life and being a good soul and trying to do God's will on earth, and they are killed for it because some unconscious soul who's unaware of itself decides that it needs to take what it feels that it lacks. So whenever a soul is actually killed in the cause of God, it is not dead. Its spirit moves on and continues on further, and actually lives out an existence that's even better than this earth. So when the Quran has said that after the Pharisees have arrogantly claimed that they killed Jesus Christ, the Messiah, it's important to know that Allah said in the Quran they did not kill Jesus. Now this can be taken in many different ways, but if you actually strip down the very meaning of that word, and you look at everything as energy and vibrations and frequencies in the entire universe, you will understand that Einstein was correct in his idea that energy is never destroyed. So even though a materialist Pharisee who's arrogant in his ways and thinks that he has killed Jesus states, "We killed Jesus," it is not true, because such a spirit, such a glowing, illuminating light such as Jesus can never die. And that is what the Quran was trying to teach, is that the moment that you become a true servant for God, the moment that you are good and you choose to spread the messages of love, unity, and light upon the earth as a light worker, you can never be destroyed. They may be able to destroy your body, but they can never destroy your soul. So it's important for people to realize that the soul never dies and is never able to be burnt, cut up, torn apart in pieces, tortured or abused. It's only the physical body that is. So once you learn how to transcend the physical body and enter into the soul states, you are able to experience where you are surpassing the pain, beyond the perception of pain, and now you are entering into the state of eternal illumination of your spiritual self as a spark of the divine, as a creation from the Creator. And this was the secret to that Quranic verse, letting all humans know that you can never kill a good spirit or positive energy within the universe. It is needed to then create once again.